Calypso's original build name was Claybeth. The owner of her at that time was a well-known automobile magnate who built the boat primarily for entertaining, but it was then a year or two later picked up by Malcolm Forbes. So Malcolm Forbes gets the boat and it continues this tradition of lavish parties and entertaining.
The history of Calypso is really one of the biggest appeals for our owner.
There seems to be an endless list of celebrities that have been on board Calypso, and to name a few of the top ones would be King Charles, Ronald and Nancy Reagan, George and Barbara Bush, Andy Warhol, Mick Jagger, Paul McCartney, Elizabeth Taylor, Martin Scorsese, Henry Kissinger, and it is truly the A-list of A-lists that have been on board.
One of my career goals was to say that I was the master of a classic Feadship. In keeping with that classic Feadship feel, starting in 2016, the vessel started to undergo a major refit, and those upgrades have continued. The goal of those have always been to bring the boat to modern with modern AV, hot tubs, on-deck master, 120-inch projection TV on the top deck, but never lose that it's a classic Feadship with beautiful varnish, beautiful woodwork, fine carpentry. We don't want to lose that because that is what makes Calypso such a beautiful boat. So Calypso is still powered by her original Caterpillar engines, but the engine room has also been really brought up to modern standards. We have dual water makers, we have zero-speed quantum stabilizers that really help the boat be more stable both at anchor and underway.
In terms of quality, Calypso is the top of the top. I mean, she was built at Feadship, which is considered one of the top manufacturers in the world. Especially at that time in the 1970s, Feadship was dominating this luxury yacht market, and still to this day is. There's 3 terrific entertaining areas on board Calypso. The main salon where we're sitting right now is sort of the focal point of the boat. When you come through the aft doors, I think it's one of the noticeable features is how open and bright this area is. It's got all the natural light coming in, incredible woodworking in here. The aft dining area is another area where you could sit and entertain. It's the place where people typically enter the yacht, so it has that wow factor when you step on. That there's this big beautiful varnish table and varnished cabinets that are back there. The third area on the boat, which is great for entertaining, is the sun deck, the place where everybody wants to hang out. It's got a beautiful hot tub up there that is surrounded by sun pads. Once the tenders are off the boat, there's a massive teak deck up there, which basically provides you a platform for doing whatever you want. You could set up tables up there and host an incredible amount of people. You could have music, it could be a dance floor. They even have a huge movie screen up there, which is a 120-inch, basically theater that they set up there. It's an area to do exercise, there's a Peloton, you could set up yoga mats. It's one of the more versatile parts on the boat.
So part of the appeal of Calypso is how versatile she is. The majority of the time our owners have just small, intimate gatherings with friends and families, a nice dinner on the back deck, especially when we're in the Caribbean. We've got a big, beautiful swim platform with all the water sports toys. You can very quickly go from an active, water sports-driven program to an intimate dinner. The boat is at a perfect size where if you have a smaller group on board, everyone's still intimate, you're not lost in a big boat, but she also has enough space that you can host a big party and not feel cramped. So the top deck on Calypso is quite large for its size. We have 2 4,200-pound davits that will allow for a myriad of toys or tenders to be carried on deck. Presently, we're carrying 2 wave runners for the enjoyment of the guests when they're in the Bahamas or Caribbean. We also carry a 19-foot custom-built Cherubini runabout tender. It's a modern tender. It was but built to look like a classic varnished tender that would have been on this boat under, maybe the Highlander.
Calypso's got a pretty unlimited range. She went to South America and went up the Amazon River when she was named Virginian. Virginian did that trip in partnership with Highlander 5, which was Malcolm Forbes' boat. On top of that, other owners have taken the boat all over the world. I mean, places like Cuba, Belize, Honduras, the Galapagos, Cocos Islands, Maltello, California, and then she's done sort of the traditional New England, Caribbean, Bahamas, all over the place.
One of the stories I find the most fun about Calypso was there was about a 13-year period when the boat was named Serenus that a family owned it, and it was a real family-driven program for 3 or 4 years. Out of that time, they lived on board full-time, raised 2 young kids on board, homeschooled them. Our now on-deck master at the time was set up as a classroom. Piece of that story is that one of those young men grew up and is now one of our co-listing brokers. The boat has had a history of people that have really put a lot of love and passion in it, and we hope that whoever becomes the next steward of this vessel has that same love and continues to write the story. It's a boat that brings joy to so many people that we want to see that continue.